Hey guys, with this video I just wanted to show you guys how to do some mining with Nimiq using the Google Cloud virtual machines. Let's set up a Google virtual machine for mining. We can use a free trial. You can get a $300 trial with Google that in and of itself it's against the term of service to mine with it directly. However, if you choose to upgrade your account to a paid account, then it's totally fine as of right now. The only caveat is that after you've used your $300 credit, then it'll start charging your account, which is not an issue if you just keep watching it, or if you don't mind actually paying, which is great, right? If you're making money, they're making money, everybody's happy. But the important thing to note is that you don't lose your $300 US dollar trial amount when you upgrade to a paid account. And it has to be a valid credit card. It has to be your real name. So when you're setting up your Google account, you can set up a brand new account. That's what I do sometimes. It has to have your real name, your real address. When you sign up for the Google Compute, you're actually going to need the whole, you're going to have to probably take a photo of your credit card and some government issued ID. So if that scares you off, I just wanted to tell you right off the bat, you probably don't want to do this. It's all about if you trust Google or not, and as far as I see it, they all have my info anyway. So okay, so here we are. I have done this before, but I deleted everything kind of by accident. So I guess I get to show you through the whole process here. So just to show you a few things, there's a few places you should know about if you're interested in Nimiq. First of all, of course, is the website. Here's the miner. This is where if you just want to mine in your browser, then it's literally a one-stop shop. You click on miner, it's going to say, okay, let's go, and you create there's two levels of accounts. There's kind of like the low level, low security, very quick to set up. This guy looks a little excited. Let's do him, and we'll do some sort of pattern, I guess. I don't know. Do. Cool. So now I've set that up. I have notice it says open account because I do have a mining account, but it's not fully an account. So anyway, so it'll verify the blockchain and it'll start doing some mining. So just so you know, these are I believe they're called the seed nodes. You won't ever see this above around 6 or so. That doesn't mean there's only 6 people on the internet mining. Okay, there's a lot more. But these are the people that are serving your connection to the blockchain. So they're kind of, I don't want to say gatekeepers because that means something else. Anyway, so this is the block we're on. You can see the most recent blocks right here. No transaction on these last 2 blocks. The global hash rate is 545 mega hashes. So that's actually a little low right now. It hovers between 500 and 800 roughly, but I'm assuming that's going to keep going up. Nimiq has only been out for a little over a month, I believe. So the mainnet, that is. My hash rate, if you click on it, you can actually choose to throttle up or down. I'm going to leave it down since I'm running on battery. I don't actually want it mining. Mining pool, for example, if you're mining at 500 hashes, right? There's hashes, there's kilo hashes, and then there's mega hashes, right? So I'm at hashes, so I'm at 0.38 kilo hashes. You need 1,000 kilo hashes to get 1 mega hash. So you can understand that I'm not mining a very large percentage of the global hash rate. So it's going to say, okay, in 2.3 years, you should get a block. Okay, right now the block is worth 4,200 NIMs, but that's going to, by 2.3 years, it'll probably be worth 3,800 or so. You know what I mean? So it's not even going to be worth as much. Well, actually, sorry, it'll probably be worth 10 times as much, but the quantity of NIM is going to be down. So in other words, I don't really want to wait that long. If you aren't mining very quickly, then what you want to do is join a mining pool. I recommend you joining literally anything other than Beat Pool, and if you hear one called Sky Pool as well, they're basically way too big, and so they've got a lot of Chinese miners, and so they don't need any more hash support. You don't get more Nimiqs. Okay, I need to repeat myself. You don't get more Nimiqs by mining with a larger pool. Okay, you get more payouts, but the payout is a lot smaller. So by joining, let's say, Nimiq chain that has a very, very small amount of hash power, if you join this pool and they find a block, you might get 2,000, 3,000 NIMs, right? Whereas if you join Beat Pool, which you can't right now because they've closed it off, but say you joined, you might get 2, you know, but you'd get 2 a whole lot more consistently than you get that 2,000, unless you get super lucky. Anyway, Porky Pool is no longer in service, so don't try joining that one. It's funny that my favorite one isn't even on here, but anyway, so I would probably recommend Sushi Pool. You can just join that. There's right now, I don't know if that's still true, but it says there's 0% fees. You just hit join, get out of here. And anyway, so now you'll see this value going up. Sometimes there's a minimum, like a 10 value. I'm not sure what it is for Sushi Pool. But sometimes if this doesn't go up high enough, then you won't actually get paid out. So different pools have different rules. So as always, you can check out the Discord page. Does this tell you? This has to tell you the Discord. Exchanges, guides. I'm going to tell Glenn to put it on here, Mr. Glenn. Oh, never mind. There we go. Discord. So if by joining the Discord, you can get into the community. They have pretty much every subgroup now, so you can join per pool, per topic. Like you can do mining topics. You can do per pool that you're in. Ask them questions. You can. If you contribute to the project, you can join the sushi lounge and all this fun stuff. Anyway, this is Nimiq Watch. I like going here just to see our hash rate. So as you can see, there you go. See, so it is actually in fact a little low, which is actually great if you want to mine. So because mining, why mine when it's 750 mega hashes when you can mine when it's 510, right? So this is an excellent opportunity for you to start mining. And if you go to, sorry, not pool, hashing distribution, Sky Pool, Beat Pool, Sky Pool, Sky Pool, Sky Pool, Sky Pool, not sure, Sushi Pool, Sky Pool. I think this might be Nimbus, which is the one I'm going to show you how to join. I'm not sure though. Sushi Pool. Anyway, so right now on the web, that's the one we're mining. So as you can see, you don't want to join one of these big ones because they're not making a nice decentralized environment. The biggest issue is that the Chinese people have found out about this coin. So due to their firewall, the Great Firewall of China, they can't essentially mine other pools. They have to mine a pool inside the Chinese, what is it called, the Republic. And because of that, there's only very limited options. They have basically Beat Pool and Sky Pool, and that's it. And so because of that, they're forced into joining one of well, and they're basically all the same, right? Except there's B pool and Sky pool. I believe those are definitely two separate pools. Anyway, so the point I'm making is you want to join a different pool so that you can help decentralization. And as people start finding out about Nimiq, I'm hoping that these little ones here start growing. Okay, that's a lot of preamble. Let's hop over to what we're all here for. Okay, let's close that. I was doing something. Close. Yeah, close that. Instance. Let's create an instance. So this is when you've signed up for Google Cloud. This is what you're going to see after you've clicked the Compute Cloud Engine. You probably see something like this. You want to go down to Compute Engine. Just go ahead and pin the Compute Engine. Pin that. Pin I am an admin. And I like pinning the billing as well. Okay, so you have those three things. So we'll start. Sure, let's start with billing. Do this backwards. If you're like me and you like to track your trial amount, so you actually have $300 US, which is actually 396 Canadian dollars. So that's why it's showing a little more. That's how much I have remaining. So I haven't used any. And if I did, it's always a little delayed, right? So it takes a few hours to update. Budgets and alerts, just go there. I just created one called trial, and so these are default values, whatever. You just have to specify the amount that you want to set the budget for. So I set it to roughly the same as my trial, and then it calculates all this for you. And you can add more if you want to set one for like 80% and maybe 10%, or I set one at 5% just to kind of catch an idea of how quickly I'm burning through my budget. Okay, so that's that. Don't worry about this for now. So we're going to go to Compute Engine, VM Instances, Create, Customize. Okay, so we're going to call this template. Template with Nimbus. Hey, let's call it that. As I said, I have done this before on here. Always make memory the lowest amount possible. Okay, so main reason for that is we're trying to bring down how much we're paying per month. So if you left it at 30, see, why pay the extra 40 bucks, right? It's not going to help you with your mining. I always do Skylake or later because I want to make sure that their CPU is that I'm getting a good CPU and that it works with my miner. So change your boot disk from Debian over to Ubuntu 16.04. Is it long-term support or life? I think no, long-term. That makes more sense. I believe that's it. Okay, so you got your 8 cores, and I'll show you why you want 8. You can make this anything you want. Well, not really, but you could do 1, you could do 2, you could do 4, I don't care. But I do 8, and I would recommend you do 8. Oh, preemptibility, turn that on. So right now it's going to cost $145 a month. Turn this on, $44 a month. And you're like, wow, that's awesome. Why wouldn't everyone do that? Basically, you don't want to do that if you can't have your machine get shut off when they get busy. So basically, this is like, hey, I'm making a server, but it's not super high priority. So if something else comes along and you need the resources from this Skylake processor, I'm just going to shut off my server. It's going to automatically shut my server off, right? And it stays off. So you're like, so you see the price point is a great advantage for mining, but obviously you can't have these things shutting off all the time. So I'll show you how that works though. So we'll get around that so that they get shut off and then they automatically come right back on and start mining again. So it doesn't even matter, right? So anyway, this will take a moment. So one thing I didn't show you because I already did this, but if you just finish creating your Google Cloud platform account here, when you went to create this instance, you should have an option somewhere around here to upgrade to paid. If not there, then maybe there'd be a little icon here where you could click and it'll show you your trial information. And anyway, you need to make sure you upgrade that. Okay, so without that, you may, I'm not sure if you can do, I think you can do a V8 core template, but yeah, you just need to make sure you upgrade, otherwise you'll get banned from this service in probably an hour. They're amazingly efficient at it. So we're just connecting to our server. It's very convenient. You just type, just click a button and it SSHs through your browser into it. First thing I like to do, let's just do a sudo apt update. Okay, so I honestly don't think I have to do this because with the script I'm going to use, you know, it'll make sure that's all good. But anyway, I like to do what is it called? HTOP. That's it. So there's a thing called top, and what it does is basically shows you all your processes that are running. You know, so right now there's not a lot of action, and it works, right? But why use that when I can do HTOP? And now you got color, and you have, see, I have 8 cores, so these will light up and stuff when they're busy, and there's my memory. Like, it's just a lot better. So why wouldn't I use this, right? So that's what I basically did. Control C to exit, as always. So by installing HTOP, so to do that again, all I did was sudo apt install HTOP, right? So I want to have this installed in my template that I'm going to use for everything else, so that at any point I can SSH into my machine and see if they're mining. That's, at least that's one way I can do it, right? Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to run over to Nimbus, and so there's different options. You can set up Linux client Skylake. See, there's that processor that we were using, that we selected for our virtual machine. However, I find that this gets me between 24 and 28 kilo hashes, whereas if I just go down to the source build and use this instead, I get about 32 to 36. So why would I not want to spend an extra minute setting up and get all that extra power, right? Did that not copy? I guess it didn't. Okay. Something's funky here. Oh, I'm using a Windows keyboard maybe? Yes, that's the problem. Okay. Enter the pool. So this automatically fills it out for you. That's good. Enter the minor CPU threads. Enter your wallet address. Okay, so let's go. So going back to Nimiq here. Cancel. I guess, no, this is what I want to do. Oh, a lady playing football. Purple lady with chicken legs. This is the process you have to go through to create a real fully fledged account with Nimiq. You basically need to get, I would recommend a piece of paper to write this down. Don't copy this into a text file and then save it on your desktop. I know that's what most people would probably tell you to do. Just don't do it. Take the effort, get a pen. I'd recommend a pen, not a pencil. Write this down in this order. So you write exact common wedding blouse. Okay, you write that across the first line, then you go down to the next line, you write, you know, your expand artifact? No, I haven't seen that word in a while. Accident, expand. Okay, so you basically just write it out in this sequence, in the same pattern, right? So your first 4 words, and then your next, then your next. And the reason for that is when you continue here, it's going to be like, hey, what's the second word? And I'm like, oh, shoot, what was it? Common. Okay, continue. Okay. Common. Okay. Number 14. Ah, shoot, you know what I mean? So basically, this is just to verify that you actually wrote it down. And the reason you need to write these words down is because these are your this is your password. This is how you recover. When you lose your password to your account, this is how you get back in. Or if you lose your computer that has access to your account, this is how you get in. You can go on any computer, go to nimiq.com, and then recover an account using these 24 words. So not only do you want to use pen and then write this down and then throw it in a safe, but yeah, you just want to make sure it stays somewhere that no one else can just find, right? So don't put it in your Gmail, don't put it on your desktop. Find an actual physical place that's safe for it. Anyway, so I'm not going to do this because I have an account and I'm actually planning to use this for mining, so I'll just cancel. But you just follow through and pretty soon you'd have an account. Okay, so I'm just going to paste my account there, and then so this is basically compiling the node files, all the Nimiq files, putting everything into a little package ready to execute on your computer or on the Google computer. Okay, so this is what it looks like once it's finished doing its thing. We'll just clear that off. So if you type in ls to list everything that's in my directory here, you see the core. That's kind of the engine that runs everything. The main full consensus folder, that is where the blockchain is downloaded. The miner is actually the miner, but to start the miner they've created a little script called start. So if you put /start or s and then tab, this will actually start the mining process. So this is the first time we're running the miner. So what I'm going to, so basically it's going to take a little while. It needs to first upgrade the database, and then the biggest part is downloading the blockchain. I believe this miner starts at block 32,000, or rather it doesn't start at it, it comes pre-packaged with 32,000. That is the block height, if that makes any sense to you. Nimiq watch, that's the one I want. So we're at 136,000, and this thing is at 33,000. So it'll be, I don't know, an hour. So I'm just gonna let this run, and after this has caught up with the blockchain, it's going to start mining. So yeah, let's let this sit for a while. I'm not done yet. This is kind of the first half of the installation, and then we still have to create an image and basically create a group and stuff with Google Compute. So yeah, so we're here, we're making an instance. Once this is done, I'm gonna stop it. We'll make an image of it, and then we'll use that image to create a template, and then the template to put in the groups and stuff. But and I also have to do a little configuration in here too. So I'll catch up with you when this is all done. Okay guys, so it's been a little over an hour. We're now mining. You can see it worked its way all the way from where we were, and we started at 32,800, and now we're at the top of the blockchain. So now instead of going up by hundreds, we're going to see this going up by one as it progresses, and you can see that my mining is 40 between 30, almost 35,000 hashes and 40,000 hashes, which is equivalent of 40 to 35 kilo hashes, right? So this is now working. So I'm going to hit Control C. That's going to stop it. If I type in cron tab -E, okay. So this cron tab is basically if you use Windows, for example, you have a startup folder, and whatever you put in there, it's going to execute when the computer turns on. This is basically a little more advanced version of that, and it allows you to put in scripts or whatever that either run at certain times, at different intervals, or just when it reboots. So right now it's asking me which editor would I like to open this in, and it has selected 2 by default, which is Nano, which is kind of the more user-friendly one, so sure, we'll use that. So just hit enter. And you can see everything has these pound tags in front of them. So this here is just comments, so don't worry about that in terms of it affecting any code you put in. This is just information for you. So you can put in your scripts either before or after this. So I'm going to put this in the video, what you need to stick in here. So this here is my address, and then so you can see that right here. So this is where you would put your address. I mean, you can leave it with my address if you want to thank me and mine a little for me, but no, I don't. That's not necessary. This is where you go to nimiq.com, get your address, and put it in here. Everything else should stay the same, assuming that you kept the 8 cores, and that you also want to mine on Nimbus, which has been very good for me, so I'm going to keep doing that. So I just copy this right into here. So I can just paste that in here. It looks funny, but if I just wind it back, it kind of only shows you part of it. So if you think that only the end of what you pasted is showing up, just try going back and you can see it's all here. Okay, so just to figure out what's happening at reboot, it's going to first execute this thread pool size 8. Don't worry about that. That's just making sure that, hard to explain, but basically that your client is set up for mining with 8 cores. This here is that file that we typed in before, the ./start, that executes the miner. And these are just parameters. And honestly, since we already set up the start file with parameters when we set up the miner originally, I don't even know 100% if this takes place or not. But that's something you can play around with and figure out. So now that we're happy with this, let's see down here. We want to exit, so Control X, and then it's going to say, do you want to save? And yes. Y for yes, and then just hit enter. It's going to recreate that file. So if I just type in the same command, there it is. So again, Control X, and then we're out. So if what I like to do sometimes is just reboot the thing and see what happens, right? Because there's no point creating, like going with the following steps if this part isn't working. So we want to make sure that as soon as the computer restarts and it reboots and it's coming back online, that it starts mining. Okay, so you look at it and you think, oh, there's nothing happening, right? But type in htop, and you know that it's starting to work when you see this node, right? So it means that it actually is picking that up. There we go. And so once it's reached consensus, it'll start mining, and that's what it looks like when it's mining. We have 8 cores, all of them are mining at near 100%, so that's perfect. So even now at this point, I can get out of my htop, I can close my tab, and it is going to keep running. So if I this won't actually work quite yet, but if I were to check this off and hit monitoring, in about 5 minutes you would see this at or near 100%. So that's one way you know it's working. This is a little delayed. That's why I like to just SSH into it and just manually check that it's working. So I do know now that it is working when it reboots. So now that I'm happy with my template, I'm just going to stop it. I have to stop it so I can create an image of it, because I want this template replicated, because I don't want 8 cores, I want 64. Why not? You could run just a single if you want, but I like to try maxing it out, especially now that the hash rate's a little low. If you're ever wondering if you leave this page and you don't know if it's shut down yet, you can always click here. This is the active tasks. So you can see it's now stopping, and it'll say successfully stopped or something like that. There we go. It says it's been stopped. There it also tells you. So now I want to go to images. I'm going to create an image. It doesn't matter what I call this. So whatever. I'll just call it Nimbus, so it's something that's easy to remember. That's the name of the miner. That is going to be the mining pool that I'll be mining at. And there's my template. So this is basically packaging my instance into an image file that the cloud engine, the compute engine, can use to replicate that template. So again, just have to wait for this. Okay, and that is now done. So we can hop over to instant templates. So we'll create a template. So this is just basically packaging everything up, saying, hey, I want the ability to create instances, and this is how I want them formatted. So they need to be Skylake. You'll see a lot of repetition. We did this for when we set up the instance. Oops, I always click that for some reason. Boot disk. There's our image that we just made. It's under custom images. Machine type. There it goes, Skylake. And again, down here, we want to. There we go. This has to be on. That should be good. There we go. So that is all good. So now we've made a template. So now all we have to do is create a group. And I like to name these just by regions, but you can do anything. You can call it group 1, group 2, whatever. So I'll call this East 1. I like using the US East ones just because I know that they're cheaper than, say, Sao Paulo or Tokyo or Singapore. A lot of those cost a fair bit more. I think it's London costs quite a bit more. So anyway, so I like choosing one of these. I do multi-zone just because I don't really care where in US East. Okay, so there's my template. Make sure you turn auto scaling off, because since this thing's going to be using 100% of your CPU, it's going to want to scale up, but we want to prevent that. Choose instances, 3 instances. So it's going to be 3 instances of 8 cores. So that's 24 cores for the US East 1. And let's go ahead and create that. And while that's going, let's just go ahead and let's see. Let's do US East 4. And again, same template. Hold on, what did I click on? US East 4. Scaling off. You want 3 again, and that should be good. And then the last one is a little different, so we're going to make West 1. Why not? For some reason, it keeps clicking. Why is it doing that? There. we're going to do 2 instead of 3. Okay, so if you're wondering why I chose the numbers that I did, remember up here, under this section here, you can check out your quotas. And so you only are allowed to have 64 cores running, okay? And each location can only have up to 24. This is with the account that you get when you upgrade to a paid account, but you haven't further upgraded. So you have 64 total, 24 per region. So if you do 24 plus 24, then you only have 16 left to fulfill the global amount of CPUs you can have active. So that's why I like doing 8s, just so that I can easily match all these up, right, with the same template. So now I can go over to VM instances, and you'll notice I have 3 east 1s, 3 east 4s, and 2 west 1s. So that's perfect. You can delete this if you want. You can always recreate it using the images file, right? You can create an instance instead of choosing Ubuntu 16. You can go over to custom images and then just use that. So now I should be able to pick any random one of these, SSH into it, and type in htop, and it should be running. So I'll just let that load. If you just go like so, and after a few minutes, you should be able to see that everything is running at 100% roughly. And another fun thing is that if I were to just randomly delete this one, so I can go ahead and delete it, I don't care, because what it's going to do is it's going to delete that, and then my groups here is going to force it, okay, you need 3, so I'm going to create another one, and so eventually I'll see this coming right back online, probably have a different name, and it's going to just so it's going to always want to have those 3. So I don't have to worry about what I do here. My group instances will be managed from over here. So now I'm mining. Everything is all set up and ready to go. I can close this off and not worry about it, and just do everything from the Nimbus dash screen. So you can log into your Nimbus panel. It will show how much they have how much you have waiting to get paid out, how much you have been paid out, how many workers are online right now, and how much your total kilo hashes is. Obviously, this number should be fairly high. If you're mining with 64 cores, you can expect it to be around 200 kilo hashes. However, that being said, this is kind of based on a calculation over time. So if you know that you're mining, it should show up in your devices. It may not. I already talked to the creator of this pool. Right now, this should be saying Skypool, or not Skypool, what am I thinking? Skylake 8C, because that's what we put the ID as, but for some reason that's not working right now, so hopefully that gets fixed. But meanwhile, you can kind of figure out what's happening just by the hash power. So you'll see this after some time, this will start saying the correct value, and you'll see this every few hours. It'll get, you log into your nimiq.com and you'll see your payouts there, and it's as simple as that. Okay, so you might be wondering, why would I mine Nimiq over another coin? If you look at CoinMarketCap, you'll see there are thousands of coins on there, and anything, they usually say anything under, what is it, 100 million market cap is considered very high risk, which Nimiq is one of, like, by that definition, Nimiq is a high risk coin. Some caveats to that are that Nimiq is the only JavaScript web-based mining ecosystem that actually works, if you want to put it that way. So far, they have the Ledger integration. So Ledger is your hardware wallet. So if you have a Ledger Nano S, you can actually put your Nimiq right onto that, and instead of having to rely on your seed to those 24 words to put your account on a different computer, you can just stick in your this wallet and load up everything that way. It's actually much quicker and very easy. And you can actually put money onto this thing without ever plugging. After you've set it up, you don't actually have to plug it into your computer every time you want to send funds to it. Only when you want to withdraw or make a payment, that kind of stuff, that's when you need to plug in your hardware wallet. But you can always continuously send funds from different accounts into this wallet. So that's actually very neat. So they've already got, they're on the hardware ledger, which is incredible because there's not many coins that are on that thing. It also has pools already. It does have exchanges. If you click here, you can see we have LA Token, Bitcoin, Alpha, you have Trade Satoshi, you have Nimiq, Hit Bitcoin, well, Hit BTC, that's coming soon. We're just waiting for them to integrate this thing. So hopefully that comes soon. Everyone's kind of waiting for that because it's the bigger exchange. LA Token is, well, pretty much all of these are very small. Nimiq is an exchange made specifically for Nimiq. So this lets you trade Ethereum to Nimiq, and it's kind of cool. This was created by a community member. I can't remember his name right now, but I'm sure if you ask around on the Discord channel, people could tell you. Trade Satoshi is probably the next best place. But again, just not a ton of trading activity quite yet. But the important thing is that Hit Bitcoin is coming, and hopefully a lot more keep coming. So why should you join the whole revolution with Nimiq as opposed to some other coin? Certain things you have to think about are the ease of use and also what you can do with the coin. There are lots of people promising the world to, with their ICOs and stuff. And the problem is that they end up not producing anything and usually walk away with your money. So Nimiq, they created their testnet before they ever started, before they asked for any money. So they said, hey, we have a working product. We just want to refine it, get it up to mainnet quality. And so that's what they did. So now mainnet is launched. The ICO happened about a year ago. And they have Ledger integration, and they're on exchanges with more on their way. The other very important thing about Nimiq is just how quick it is, how light it is, and the ease of use. This thing also uses JavaScript. So being that it's JavaScript based, you can integrate it very well. So if you hop over to nimiq.community/projects, you can actually see some of the projects that have already been built with Nimiq, just because, excuse me, because it is JavaScript based, and it means that you can integrate other projects with it really quickly. So you have some explorers. So these first two are the block explorers. You got Pool Watch that actually gives you information on the seed nodes. You have your desktop miner, so if you have Windows, you can just download this miner and mine that way. CoinMiq, I don't even remember what this is, but you should check it out. Why not? Nimiq, that's that exchange I told you about. You have Nimpet, that's a little game that they're making, so you can basically mine on your browser and grow your Neopet kind of idea with this. 20 is for gamers who use twitch.tv. You can donate essentially to whoever you're watching, and use a bot to send money, donate, all that sort of stuff. So that's actually really cool, and we're thinking that this really propels Nimiq into the ecosystem. This is a funder thing, so you can instead of asking for money, you can request hash power essentially. This is an API that you can use to integrate very easily your projects with Nimiq. Nimiq Games, these guys are planning to do a bunch of, so far I've seen casino styled games where you can bet and then see how well you roll your dice there. This is just another block explorer. Okay, you got some the tip bot for Discord. You see people using this all the time. You got one for Reddit. You've got a faucet, so if you want to have, what is it, a small amount of NIM, you can just go to the faucet and put in your address there, and you can automatically get just a little bit to play with. There's a block explorer, and a whole lot more. So if you want to calculate your mining, how much you're going to get after a certain amount of time with certain hash power, this will help you out there. And also it'll calculate your costs and stuff. So these are what's come out in the past 2 months of the mainnet release. So it's actually really incredible. Not necessarily simply that Nimiq works, which is kind of a feat in and of itself, but that so many people are actually building projects on it. And the community is what makes the coin, what can make this thing a huge success. It's not just a lot of dialogue saying this is what we're going to do and this is why it's so great, and yet you can't actually use it for anything, right? So they want to integrate it into Twitch, into different exchanges, APIs, so you can do fun stuff. There's different games, so it's actually really, really cool. So now that you have a bit of an idea of how Nimiq works, how does it compare to the other JavaScript kind of blockchain projects out there? I'm only aware of 2 other ones. The first one's called JSE Coin, and this one is basically for webmasters who want to make money through mining, from people mining as opposed to displaying ads on your website, which potentially could be better. People could prefer to just mine a little bit of with their CPU as opposed to having to look at a ton of ads. So that's kind of a in-between point of, you know, ad blocks and being happy to support a website, you know. The only problem I have with this is that it's a very narrow case. It's only for basically webmasters. It's not intended for the general public, and it's very centralized. Like, you basically have to go through a server in order to use this thing. So it's not decentralized at all, which is what cryptocurrency should be, right? So anyway, cool project though. I just don't know how well that'll do. Side note, you could do the exact same thing with Nimiq, because it's in fact there's some projects that have done the exact same thing. So that would essentially replace this. This website looks awesome though. Anyway, then you have WebDollar, which I suppose you could say is the competitor to Nimiq. My biggest issue with this is just how do I start? It's not well done. Let's just say they really should be in the testnet phase, not mainnet. And the reason I say that is that in the past few months they've tried this. They started their mainnet, and after a week they actually had to shut it down and start it right back over because there's too many glitches. So they did that. So then the second one is running about a month afterwards. We don't know if it was a hack or what happened, but essentially there was, what was it, 300 billion, something, a large value of web dollars in a Genesis account. Rumor was it that it was unencrypted, so no password was on this thing, and one of the admins accidentally sent it to someone else, and that someone else basically abused that and started, like, you know, messing up the network, so they had to hard fork this thing. So this thing has gone, they're basically on their third chain now, and okay, so they're on their third chain. This is kind of one of those, they say they're going to offer you the world. Building blocks of a blockchain is it needs to be able to do transactions well. This can't do that yet, so that is a big issue. People have been, if too many transactions go through, basically your transaction gets rejected right now. So that's an issue. Another issue is if you want to join a pool like you do in Nimiq, that's not really working yet. I'm sure they'll work out the bugs, but it's just not quite at the level. There's a lot of people that are a lot more advanced in the looking at the source code and have said it's just not in the same playing field as Nimiq. So this has a long way to go. I would say it's much riskier than Nimiq, and a lot smaller and younger. But if everything goes through, they plan to have pools, be on exchanges, and have a whole ecosystem, have smart contracts. So they're promising a lot. So if they are successful, more power to them. I just don't see that happening. And it's mining right now, and I can't. There we go. I don't actually want it mining right now. Cool. And so that brings us back to Nimiq. I think, this thing has never been hacked. They're on their original mainnet. There's there's a whole lot more hashing power behind Nimiq than there is against WebDollar, and that's a good thing. You want as much as possible. Do your own research, figure out what's best for you, and if nothing else, I would recommend just running the miner for a while and accumulate a little bit of Nimiq, just because I think it has absolutely huge potential in the future, since it is a very good working system. It just the creators are Germans. They're very carefully crafting this project so it doesn't move nearly as quickly as WebDollar, but it also works when they do move forward with it. So it's it's a trade-off, right? So good luck, have fun with it. You can buy Nimiq at the different exchanges. It's quite affordable right now, so that's one way to go. But if you can get free credit, then might as well mine with Google, and acquire some that way too. You can. There are other platforms such as Oracle, Microsoft Azure, and even Alibaba has a compute, but I didn't have much success with that one. So anyway, you can play around and do some mining. All right. If you like these videos, you can send a small donation to the address in the description of this video. If not, then you can go mine some WebDollar. All right, see you guys. Have a great day.